Questions on Twitter, Mr. Trump. I picked one here. This is from Jessica Hershey, Toms River, New Jersey. I'll just read it as a quote on a hot button issue here. Mr. Trump, please be specific. Tell us your views on LGBT, how you plan to be inclusive as president. Speak about North Carolina bathroom law in particular.
Oh, I had a feeling that question was going to come up, I will tell you. Well, look, North Carolina did something that was very strong, and they're paying a big price, and there's a lot of problems. And I heard one of the best answers I heard was from a commentator yesterday saying, leave it the way it is right now. There have been very few problems. Leave it the way it is. North Carolina, what they're going through with all of the business that's leaving and all of the strife, and that's on both sides. You leave it the way it is. There have been very few complaints the way it is. People go, they use the bathroom that they feel is appropriate. There has been so little trouble. And the problem with what happened in North Carolina is the strife and the economic punishment that they're taking. So I would say that's probably the best.
Do you have any transgender people working in your organization?
I don't know.
No?
I really don't know. I probably do. I really don't know.
So if Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses?
That is correct.
Okay.
Different issue, also a social issue.
You know, there's a big move to create new bathrooms. Problem with that is for transgender, that would be first of all, I think that would be discriminatory in a certain way. It would be unbelievably expensive for businesses and for the country. Leave it the way it is.
Let's talk about abortion, another potent social issue. The Republican platform every 4 years has a provision that states that the right of the unborn child shall not be infringed, and it makes no exceptions for rape, for incest, for the life of the mother. Would you want to change the Republican platform to include the exceptions that you have?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Absolutely, for the three exceptions.
Would you have an exception for the health of the mother?
I would leave it for the life of the mother, but I would absolutely have the three exceptions.
Okay, Willie.
All right, let's go back to the crowd here, Mr. Trump. Dr. Priscilla Paramus Warren of Scarsdale, New York. She's married with one son, registered Republican, and a supporter of yours.
Thank you.
Mr. Trump, your wife Melania suggested that you be presidential. Can you tell us some of the things that you have done to be more presidential?
Well, it's true. Melania would like me to not hit as hard sometimes, and yet, you know, when I started, we had 17 people, and I was being hit from every angle by governors and senators and really smart and wonderful people. He endorsed me, Ben Carson and others, and Chris Christie, another one. And, you know, you're being hit pretty hard. I felt that I had to hit back very hard. And I think if I acted very presidential, I wouldn't be sitting up here today. Somebody else might be. It wouldn't be me. So I will tell you, it's easier for me to be presidential than for me to be doing what I've been doing for the last really 9 months. But at the right time, I will be so presidential. You will be so bored. You will say, can he have a little bit more energy? But I know when to be presidential. We have 2 more left. They have absolutely no path to victory. In fact, it was announced this morning they have no path to victory. And we have a very easy path to victory. And I think they'll be gone very soon.
On the Democratic side of things.
2 good people, but I think they'll be gone very soon.
On the Democratic side of things, the huge issue is Wall Street banks. I mean, they're firing at each other on that subject. You're a guy who said you know the Wall Street bankers better than anyone.
Better than anyone.
All right. After the 2008 financial meltdown, do you think any of the guys you know better than anyone should have been in jail?
So it's a question I've heard so often, I've been asked so often, and the answer is if they did something purposely illegal, the answer is absolutely yes. Now, with all of that being said, I don't believe anybody has really been indicted and gone to jail, which is pretty amazing, because I'm sure there was some pretty bad moves made. I will say this. A lot of mistakes were made. You can't put a businessman in jail because he made a bad business decision. You know, they want to do well. And for the most part, Wall Street bankers want to do well. I know so many of them. You know so many of them. They want to do well. They're good people like everyone else. Get a lot of money. I think they're paid too much money, but what are you going to do? I mean, you know, it's one of those things. But if they make a business mistake, you can't put people in jail. If they do something that they know is illegal and wrong, you got to put them in jail.
Does it ever surprise you that so many of your supporters are so angry at those banks because they feel the decks are stacked against them, and yet you're the guy they're supporting, and you're a guy who's been given every single advantage those banks can give to the wealthiest Americans?
Well, I have taken advantage of the banks probably more than any human being on earth. I love banks, right? I love banks. And I love fighting with banks if I have to. I mean, you know, depends on what happens. The economy goes up, it goes down. But I found bankers to be very good people. I found them to be very honorable people. Generally speaking, they want to do what's right for the country. But again, you know, I've known some bad dudes. You've known some bad dudes, Matt. I mean, I've been at parties that I've seen you, and I've seen these people in the same room as us. You know, there are some people out there that are not good people. For the most part, I have to say, though, Wall Street people, they're aggressive, they're tough, they're smart, and they bring a lot of money and a lot of jobs into this country.
Do you believe